I'm rolling. 5,
Everyone quiet down.
4, 3, 2, 1, speed.
Tony, Black Sabbath has been together for 17 years. How can any band stay together for 17 years? What makes it work that well?
Glue. Just a blend of people, really. It's like a brotherhood.
Did you ever think 17 years ago that the band would still be together?
No, not really. You don't really think as far as how many years you're going to be together. It's just enjoying it and doing it.
What made you play guitar in the first place?
I don't know, really. Originally I was going to play drums. I wanted to play drums and always wanted a set of drums, but they were too expensive then. So, and I played accordion and I got a guitar. Then I went from there and started listening to different records, Shadows and old blues stuff and rock and roll then it was.
Who were some of the players that you can recall?
Guy with Chuck Berry.
Were these people on records that you were listening to in England, or people that came on tours, radio?
No, records and radio. I couldn't afford to go to concerts and stuff. Well, there wasn't concerts really then.
What were the instruments that you were playing back then? What models, brands?
The guitar was Watkins guitar, which is an English guitar. The first one I had. Then I had a Burns guitar, then a Fender.
And Burns is a British guitar too, isn't it?
That's right. But they're all left-handed as well, so it's quite hard really to get a left-handed guitar.
Did it bother you that you were left-handed when you looked at other players, they weren't?
Yes, it bothered me in the way that I couldn't get the guitar that I wanted. I wanted a Gibson. Or even a Fender, then you couldn't get a left. It's really hard to get a left-handed Fender.
Did you try just taking a right-handed guitar and turning it over, as some people have had to do?
No, I didn't, no. I happened to come across, the Watkins, which was left-handed. So I used that one. Until I come across, eventually I got a Fender Strat, which I saw left-handed.
Who were the blues players? And you said in England, of course, there was a big blues movement, but with John Mayall and the British players.
Oh, it's before John Mayall. I mean, before John Mayall became popular anyway. But they really did. I mean, John Mayall really, I suppose, brought blues more to being noticed, really.
Were you listening a lot to the black American players?
Yeah.
Such as?
Various different ones. I don't even remember names now.
Has blues influenced your playing terrifically?
Yes. Yeah.
Does it play a role in a band like Black Sabbath?
It certainly does, yeah. Well, we originally started off Sabbath as doing blues, 12-bar blues and jazz, really.
Have you always thought of yourself just as a heavy metal player, or are you a guitar player that...
I'm just a guitar player. I don't class heavy metal as any... You know, I don't know where that term come from, really, as far as heavy metal is concerned. I suppose somebody has to put a label on it, but...
Would you play a different style if you weren't in the band?
No. What I played was a part of the band, it was what I wanted to do, so I would be doing the same thing.
Tell me about the guitar that you're using today and the amplification that you use. What do you like about them?
Well, the guitar I'm using now is... I've just done a deal with BC Rich, so I'm using BC Rich now. The guitars previous to that were made by a company in Birmingham, England, which I designed the pickups and the whole thing, really, towards the guitars. And he's now turned over to doing basses, so we no longer makes 6-string guitars. So I've done a deal with BC Rich, who are making some good stuff.
Do the instruments themselves and the amplification and all the electronics, do they influence the way you play, or can you essentially walk into somebody else's setup and start playing?
I'll tell you in a minute. It's strange that, because one time we had a guy get up and jam with us, and I always used to like his sound. And I remember he had a Les Paul, and I used to think, what's a nice sound he's got. And he happened to get up and play with us, and he had a Strat, and he plugged in my gear, and he got exactly the same sound as he was getting from his Les Paul. I think it's a lot of the way the style you play, the way you play, is towards the sound. You know.
Has it been difficult to keep up with the electronic movement in guitar over the last 10 years?
I can't
or
keep
so?
up with it. It's, as far as there's so many different things now on the market that you can buy, it's unbelievable.
What would you tell a young player who wanted to move into bands similar to Sabbath? Would they study? Would they just listen, cop licks off records? What would you suggest?
I suppose really the first thing is what most people do is there's things so easy now to be able to learn from videotapes and from cassettes to learn licks that you can do it that way really. I suppose that's probably the way to do it.
What do you think is Tony Iommi's career in 1994?
If I could tell you that now, I'd be I don't know.
Would you like to produce other people or keep playing?
Yeah, I probably would venture into that. I've already done it so far, you know, doing bits of productions.
With bands that we would know, or?
With our own band.
Yeah. Oh, that.
A couple of bands, it's England, really.
Is Black Sabbath going to be going strong for the next 5 years, 10 years?
I hope so. I hope so. That's something nobody can predict, really. But the band now, as it stands, is with the original drummer and bass player and me. It's just minus singer.
Okay, how we do? Did we do? Oh, where did Joy go?
I was 7.2.
Okay,
Unless you want to add lyrics.
yeah, let's do a couple more minutes.
Do you want to talk about any amps or anything? Or
Oh, yeah, I mentioned amps,
You
but
did, yeah.
then I cut you
Yeah.
off. Maybe they can put that back together to the other part. What amplification do you use, and does it matter?
It does matter, yeah. I'm using at the moment the Boogie 300 watt heads and Marshall 4x12 cabinets. I'm using, I use 4 300 watts heads and 8 4x12s and a spare rack of 4x12 of Boogies. But I run those at very low level to keep the hum down because I'm using pedals and stuff, you know. When I tried Marshalls and anything that you have to have on pretty loud, it picks up so much noise. With my pickups now, because they're very sensitive.
Do you still use your own pickups,
Yeah.
your own design?
Yeah.
How do you go about designing a pickup? What do you
Well,
do?
it's just trying out really. You just the guy used to make one, and I'd try it and go back and say it wants more top, or it's not loud enough, not powerful enough, or it wants more bottom end, and it'd do the wiring, rechange the wiring. So I'd try this one, I'd fix it on the guitar, we'd try it, and we'd just done that for about 12 pickups, and we found one that was right. Then he started just running them off then.
How important are all the effects devices to you and to the sound of the guitar?
Well, to me, I wasn't aware of, well, I was aware of effects, but I didn't use them for quite a long time on stage because of the problem where the amps I used to run on full, and the noise would be horrendous really with pedals, and just really a lot of whistling and humming and everything. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why we came about designing a pickup that was full of completely solid instead of the wiring, so the wiring doesn't vibrate as much. And we encased the pickup so it would stop a lot of the feedback and stuff.
With all the pedals and all of the electronics and the wiring that goes on and all the problems with potential hum and losing things in airports and all of that, still all of that equipment and electronics and devices, and is that important to your sound?
It is to, no, not to a sound. I think the amplifiers and the guitar are the main things. I mean, whatever comes in between that is just added extra, really. But using pedals of any description really cuts down your sound in somewhat, especially your level and your sustain. So then you have to balance it up with there's some device built that's line level that brings the level back up again of the guitar and the sustain.
What's at the heart of the sound or the uniqueness of a band like Black Sabbath? Intensity? Power? Electronics?
No, it's certainly not electronics. We were very basic. When we first started, we just plugged in and that was it, really. Just turned on full. So it's probably just power.
the power of the musicians themselves?
Yeah, I think each individual musician that makes that band. It's like any band together as a band. They're a unit. You take any one of a lot of people into another environment, and like such as now, it'll be totally different for me to play with other musicians because I haven't done that for a long, long time. So you take anything out of a situation where you're all used to. That unit makes that sound, you know.
With the band as busy as Black Sabbath, do you ever find time to practice, or do you wish that you did?
I never practice. I never did.
Did you ever?
I used to, yeah. But I think when you're working on the road, you tend to have enough practice by, you know, doing the shows, really.
When you compose tunes, do you do that by improvising? Or do you sit down and write something out?
Well, normally we just jam. We'll turn up and just play out something, and everybody will just follow along, you know. We have done it where we sat down in a room and just started working out things, but it doesn't always come like that. It's mainly just best for it to be natural, just come out naturally, as opposed to trying to work something out. It doesn't really work with Sabbath. It has to be a natural feel.
Would it be harder today, do you think, for a young guitar player to make it than it was 17 years ago for you?
I would think so. I would think so. There's so many, I think the music thing today is there's so many people copying each other, they don't quite know where they're going. There's so many bands now that sound alike, it's lost for direction, really.
Okay, thank you very
Amen.
much.
Thank